Nurse fired for helping a wounded beggar, never imagining she had saved the richest man in town. Laura Bastos was finishing another night shift at Mercy Hospital when she heard screams coming from the emergency entrance. It was 4 in the morning. On a freezing Friday, she had just closed the last patient file when 2 security guards dragged a man by his armpits, leaving a trail of blood on the freshly cleaned floor. "Another drunk bum," muttered Ricardo, the head nurse, without even lifting his eyes from the paperwork. "Put him on the gurney in the back and wait until morning. We're not wasting resources on that kind of person right now." Laura watched the man being dragged away. He was unconscious with deep wounds on his forehead and left arm. His clothes dirty, torn in several places. From the injuries, it was obvious he had been badly beaten. It wasn't just drunkenness. There was too much fresh blood. Too many recent bruises. "Ricardo, he's really hurt. Look at all that blood," said Laura, stepping closer to the gurney where they had laid the man. "Laura, how many times do I have to explain? We don't waste expensive materials on beggars. Let him sleep it off. In the morning he'll leave on his own," Ricardo replied impatiently. But Laura couldn't ignore it. The man had a deep cut on his forehead that bled heavily, and his arm was in a strange position, possibly broken. If he wasn't treated soon, he could face serious complications. She looked around. The other nurses pretended to be too busy to get involved. "I'm at least going to clean the wounds and do a basic dressing," she said, grabbing some gauze and saline solution from the cabinet. "Laura, I'm warning you. Don't touch that. Administration's been watching for unnecessary expenses," shouted Ricardo. But Laura was already by the gurney. She began gently wiping the blood from the man's face. Beneath the dirt and bruises, she noticed he wasn't as old as he seemed. Maybe 40 years old. Dark, messy hair, suntanned skin. His hands, though dirty, didn't look like those of someone who'd lived his whole life on the street. "Laura, stop that right now," shouted Ricardo, making the other nurses turn. "You're disobeying a direct order." "Ricardo, I've been a nurse for 8 years. I swore to save lives, not choose which lives deserve saving," she replied. Without stopping the bandage, the argument drew the attention of other staff members. Mariana, the nurse who always competed with Laura for promotions, approached with a wicked smile. "Guys, look at this. Laura turned into a saint, wasting our supplies on a bum while we work with real patients." "A patient is a patient, Mariana. This profession doesn't choose social class," Laura replied, her face burning with embarrassment. "Oh, please, Laura. Everyone knows you just do this to show off. Trying to be the good girl in the story?" mocked Casio, another nurse. "Bet if it were your family waiting for care, you wouldn't want time wasted on a beggar." What hurt most was that Laura truly believed in what she was doing. She had become a nurse out of vocation because she wanted to help people. Seeing colleagues treat a human being like trash filled her with anger. "I'm not doing this to show off. I'm doing it because it's my job," she said, applying antiseptic. "Job means following the boss's orders," Mariana sneered. But Laura always thought she was better than everyone else. Arthur, the man on the gurney, had been conscious for several minutes. He kept his eyes closed, listening to the whole discussion. What impressed him most wasn't the insults. He had heard worse on the streets. What moved him was the nurse's determination to defend him. He could feel her hands, careful and gentle, cleaning his wounds. It had been a long time since anyone had touched him with such humanity. And from the voices around, she was being humiliated because of him. "Laura, I'm giving you one last chance. Stop this nonsense now, or you'll be in serious trouble," Ricardo threatened. "Ricardo, I'm only doing a basic dressing. No surgery, no expensive tests, just basic humanity." "Humanity?" Casio laughed. "Wake up, Laura. We're here to work, not to play Mother Teresa." Arthur clenched his fists discreetly. He heard the woman who had saved him being ridiculed for doing the right thing. He wanted to get up, wanted to defend her, but he knew that revealing he was conscious would only make things worse. "Look, everyone. Laura's all emotional, taking care of her new boyfriend," Mariana mocked. Laughter echoed down the hallway. Laura felt tears burning her eyes. But she wouldn't give them the satisfaction. She finished the bandage, checked his pulse. It was steady, strong. At least there was no immediate risk to his life. There, it's clean and bandaged. Now he can rest without infection risk. "Congratulations, Laura. You spent 15 rays worth of material cleaning a beggar who'll be dirty again tomorrow," Ricardo said sarcastically. "Hope you feel like a hero." Laura didn't answer. She looked one last time at the man on the gurney, now asleep, clean, with treated wounds. There was something about his face, something that intrigued her. "Laura, come here. I need to talk to you," said Ricardo. She followed the nurse into the hallway. Already sensing the conversation wouldn't end well, Ricardo wore that expression he always had when about to make unfair, but politically convenient, decisions. "Laura, you disobeyed me in front of the whole team, questioned my authority, and used supplies without authorization." "Ricardo, I only did a basic dressing. 15 raise in supplies won't bankrupt the hospital," she replied, trying to stay calm. "It's not just about money, Laura. It's about hierarchy. If I let you go over my orders, tomorrow everyone will think they can do whatever they want." Laura could tell from his tone that the decision had been made before the conversation even started. "I'll have to issue you a written warning for insubordination and improper use of resources," he said, pulling out a paper. "And depending on what administration decides, it could get worse." "Ricardo, this is absurd. I saved a man's life, but she knew. She was wasting her breath. You disobeyed a direct order, and in a hospital that has consequences." On the gurney, Arthur heard everything. Every word of the unfair warning, every threat in the head nurse's voice. The woman who had cared for him with kindness was being punished for doing the right thing. He clenched his fist tighter, fighting the urge to get up and reveal who he was. Laura signed the warning with trembling hands. Years of flawless service, stained by an act of humanity. It was ironic and infuriating. When they returned to the ward, the other nurses watched her with expressions ranging from pity to malicious satisfaction. Mariana had that poisonous little smile, the kind that meant she had just scored a point in the hospital's internal politics. "So, Laura, was it worth playing the hero?" she whispered, pretending to organize files. Laura didn't answer. She packed her things, her heart heavy, and just wanted to leave. Before going, she looked once more at the man on the gurney. Calm breathing, better color, clean wounds. At least she had made a difference for one person, even if it would cost her dearly. "Get better soon," she whispered, thinking he couldn't hear. But Arthur heard her, and when Laura walked out the emergency door into that cold morning, he slowly opened his eyes. For the first time in weeks, there was something in his chest besides sadness and anger. There was gratitude and determination. Laura walked to the bus stop, wrapped in her thin coat, thinking about what had just happened. The written warning was already in her record, and she knew Ricardo wouldn't let it slide. In the next few days, any small mistake could be used as an excuse for something worse. She looked at her own hands, still stained with traces of blood, even after washing them several times. She had done the right thing. She was sure of it. But in that world, doing the right thing seemed to come at too high a price. The bus arrived empty. Laura sat by the window, resting her head against the cold glass, watching the city slowly awaken. In a few hours, she'd be back for another shift, pretending nothing had happened. But something inside her had changed. A seed of rebellion that she didn't yet know would grow and change her life forever. Arthur waited until the hospital quieted completely. Before getting up from the gurney, it was almost 6 in the morning. Only one sleepy nurse remained on duty. He moved slowly, testing his wounds. The pain in his arm was intense, probably broken indeed, but nothing that posed an immediate threat to his life. He walked to the staff bathroom and saw himself in the mirror for the first time since the beating. The bandage on his forehead was well done. Professional. Laura had worked with care and compassion, even while being humiliated by her co-workers. Arthur ran his fingers over the dressing, remembering the gentleness of her hands. In the inner pocket of his torn jacket was his cell phone, wrapped in plastic. Miraculously, it had survived. He turned it on. There were dozens of missed calls, text messages, work emails. His disappearance hadn't gone unnoticed. The first call he made was to Marcelo, his driver and personal security guard. The phone barely rang. "Arthur, for God's sake, where are you? We've been looking for you for 3 days." Marcelo's voice was filled with relief and desperation. "Marcelo, I'm at Mercy Hospital. Come pick me up, but discreetly. I don't want attention." "Hospital? What happened? Are you hurt?" "I'm calling a private ambulance right now." "Marcelo, stop. Listen carefully. Come alone. Regular car. No limousine, no scene. And bring ordinary clothes." He hung up before Marcelo could argue. Returning to the gurney, he pretended to sleep again, waiting for the driver to arrive. But his mind was already racing with plans. First, he needed to know that nurse's full name, then find out everything about her. 40 minutes later, Marcelo arrived at the hospital, wearing jeans and a t-shirt disguised as a relative. "Cousin, how are you?" he said loudly, playing the part perfectly. "Better now that you're here," Arthur replied, standing slowly. "Let's go home. They left walking slowly, Arthur leaning on Marcelo's arm. In the car, far from curious ears, Marcelo couldn't contain himself. "Arthur, for God's sake, where have you been these 3 days? The company's upside down, the board's desperate. Your secretary nearly had a breakdown." Arthur looked out the window. The city was waking up. "I was investigating some things, Marcelo." "Personally? Investigating what? And how did you end up like this?" "Remember the anonymous report about mismanagement in hospitals that receive our donations?" Marcelo nodded. Arthur was the owner of ALC Holdings, a conglomerate with companies in technology, construction, and investments. "I decided to investigate personally. I disguised myself as a homeless man and spent 3 days observing Mercy Hospital." Marcelo's eyes widened. "Arthur, you're insane! You could have been killed." "What I saw there is far worse than we imagined. And in the middle of it, I met someone who's going to change everything." "Who?" "A nurse named Laura. She was the only person who treated me like a human being. She saved me and was humiliated for it." They arrived at Arthur's mansion in Barra da Tijuca, an imposing property surrounded by high walls and immaculate gardens. Marcelo helped Arthur inside and immediately called the family doctor. Dr. Henrique Matos arrived within 20 minutes, carrying a full medical kit. He had been the family physician for years, used to discreet emergencies among Rio's elite. "Arthur, for God's sake, what madness was this?" The doctor said, examining the wounds. "Your arm's broken, and that forehead cut needed stitches hours ago. Enrique, treat me here. I don't want to go to a private hospital right now. And don't record anything officially." While the doctor worked, applying anesthesia and improvising a splint, Arthur recounted his experience over the last 3 days. Everything he had seen, everything he had heard, and what Laura had done. "Arthur, you could have died. Investigations are done by professionals, not by pretending to be a beggar in the streets." Enrique grumbled. "If I had sent investigators, they never would have seen what I saw. They never would have met Laura." The doctor finished the treatment in silence, knowing it was useless to argue when Arthur had already made up his mind. Later, with the dressing finished and his arm immobilized, Arthur called Marcelo for a serious talk. They sat in the mansion's office, an elegant room of dark wood overlooking the sea. "Marcelo, I need you to hire the best private investigator in the city. I want everything about Laura Bastos, nurse at Mercy Hospital." Marcelo frowned. "Everything, Arthur? What exactly do you want to know? Where she lives, her family, education, work history, financial situation? I want to know who she is, if she has children, if she's married, what her dreams are." Marcelo wrote it all down but couldn't hide his concern. "Arthur, are you sure you didn't hit your head harder than you think? This sounds like obsession." Arthur shook his head, smiling slightly. "It's not obsession, Marcelo. It's gratitude and strategy. That woman has something our company desperately needs." "What?" Marcelo asked, curious. "Genuine integrity. She risked her job to help a stranger treated like trash. People like that are rare." Marcelo knew that once Arthur made a decision, there was no point arguing. "All right, I'll call Roberto Silva. He's the best investigator we know. And I want results fast, Marcelo. If she faced retaliation for helping me, I need to know today." While Marcelo made the calls, Arthur took a long shower. The hot water washed away not just the pain, but the weight of everything he had witnessed. The experience on the streets had been brutal, but eye-opening. It showed him a side of reality that money and power usually hid, and it had placed Laura in his path. By late afternoon, Marcelo returned with the first information. Laura Bastos, 32 years old, single, no children, rents an apartment in a middle-class neighborhood, graduated in nursing with honors, works at Mercy Hospital for 8 years. Impeccable reputation, but seen as too idealistic by her co-workers. Arthur nodded silently. "There's nothing wrong with her life, Arthur. She's an ordinary, hard-working person." "Exactly," Arthur replied firmly. "A real person. And the retaliation? Yes. The investigator confirmed she got a written warning. And there are rumors that the head nurse is preparing a report to fire her for cause." Arthur clenched his fists. "They won't. Not her." The next morning, Laura arrived for her shift with a heavy heart. She knew she was being watched. Ricardo and Mariana never missed an opportunity to criticize her work, looking for any tiny mistake to justify firing her. She tried to focus on her patients, but the pressure was constant. In the middle of the afternoon, she was called to the director's office. The director, a middle-aged man with a fake smile, was accompanied by Ricardo. "Laura, we received a report from the head nurse about your inappropriate behavior, misuse of materials, insubordination. He paused before saying what she feared most. "I'm sorry to inform you, but we're terminating your contract." Laura felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. Fired? For helping someone? But I only did a dressing. The man was hurt. Laura, the rules are clear. And frankly, your idealistic attitude doesn't fit our organizational culture. Ricardo smiled. Satisfied, Laura left the room without saying a word. Humiliated, angry. She gathered her things, said goodbye to the few co-workers who supported her, and walked away without looking back, the career she loved, destroyed by an act of compassion. Meanwhile, at the mansion, Arthur received the news of Laura's dismissal. The information arrived within minutes, thanks to the investigator. The anger he felt was cold and deliberate. Marcelo, schedule a meeting with the ALC Holdings board for tomorrow morning. And cancel all donations to Mercy Hospital. Effective immediately. Yes, sir. But what are you planning to do? Arthur looked out the window. Show them what happens when they mess with the wrong people. The next day, the news hit the hospital like a bomb. ALC Holdings was their largest individual donor. Without those funds, the institution was on the brink of collapse. The director, desperate, tried to call Arthur, but was informed that Mr. Lemos was unavailable. 2 days later, Laura received a letter at her apartment. It was an invitation to a job interview. The sender, ALC Health Foundation, an organization she had never heard of. The address, one of the city's most luxurious buildings. Suspicious, but with nothing to lose, she decided to go. Upon arrival, she was greeted by an elegant woman who led her to a conference room with a breathtaking view of the city. Sitting at the table was Arthur. Expensive suit, arm in a silk sling, the bandage barely visible. Laura recognized him instantly. The shock left her speechless. Mr. Arthur? What? How? Please sit down, Laura. We have a lot to talk about. Arthur told her the whole story. His undercover investigation, the corruption he had uncovered, and the injustice of her dismissal. I created this foundation with one purpose, Laura. To change how healthcare is managed in this city, and I want you to lead it. Laura was stunned. Me? But I'm just a nurse. Arthur smiled. You're much more than that. You have integrity, compassion, and courage. Qualities money can't buy. I don't want you to be just a nurse. I want you to be the person who ensures no patient is ever treated the way I was, and that no professional is ever punished for doing what's right. The outcome of the story was inspiring. Laura accepted the challenge. With Arthur's support and the Foundation's resources, she revolutionized the city's healthcare system. Mercy Hospital was rebuilt from the ground up. Ricardo and Mariana, fired and prosecuted for negligence, Laura became a symbol of hope and integrity, living proof that one act of kindness can change the world. And Arthur, the man who had once been invisible, found in her more than a partner at work. He found someone who restored his faith in humanity. Their story became a legend in the city, a reminder that true wealth is not found in material possessions but in the ability to care for others. Laura and Arthur, together, proved that compassion is the most valuable investment anyone can make. The seed of rebellion that was born in Laura that cold night bloomed into a garden of change, watered by the gratitude of a man who saw in her light amidst the darkness. And so, the nurse who was fired for saving a beggar ended up saving an entire system. She redefined what it means to care and left a legacy of humanity for all the generations that would follow.